welcome to NAPOD, where we provide NA speaker meetings and workshops in a podcast. We are an ad-free podcast, and if you enjoy listening, please help us to be self-supporting by visiting napod.xyz, look for the donate link, and drop $1 or $2 in the virtual basket. If you're also in AA or have friends that are, please tell them about our other podcast, Sobercast. Sobercast features AA speakers and workshops in the same format as NAPOD. We upload a new speaker every day, and it's easy to subscribe by searching for Sobercast, that's 2 words, on any podcast player app, or go to Sobercast.com. Enjoy the podcast, and thanks for listening.
Shit. Wowie, thank you so much. It's hard to know how to live up to that, but since I know I'm in a room full of dope fiends, who knows, what your reaction is going to be. My name is Roberta, and I'm an addict. I'm fucking terrified. My husband was sitting in Los Angeles, probably sitting in the chair waiting the 24 hours for the Super Bowl, sent me a message that said, "Did you speak yet?" Am I speaking too loud? He said, "Did you speak yet?" And then when I opened it, the message said, "If you say fuck, which I'm sure you will, do it with passion and reach down real deep so the addicts from the show me state get the full fucking impact." Because I have a lot of things to say. I know it because it kept me up all night, so I hope I don't nod out here, actually. And I don't know if I'll be able to say it all. I'm so amazed by this event. I'm amazed. First of all, I'm just amazed by this event. I'm amazed you've been doing it for 20 years. I'm amazed at the strength of Narcotics Anonymous here. I don't know why I should be amazed. It's, because I come from Los Angeles, and I have traveled around. I've been to meetings in a lot of places, but I didn't know this event was here. I didn't know about this thing you call a lake that looks like a river to me. I don't get it. I just don't get it. If you people in your bodies of water, what you call it. But I imagine this place is very beautiful in the summer, too. I'm glad you stopped the rain for me. Thank you so much. My husband, who's from Texas and is Catholic, says of me, because I'm Jewish and I'm from Brooklyn, if you didn't know that, then you are fucking tone deaf. My husband always says Jews don't like to get wet, and that's true. So thank you for stopping the rain. And thank you for being here and for carrying the message of Narcotics Anonymous to so many addicts. As I've been walking around, I've been seeing there's so many young people here. And I started to think to myself, what the fuck kind of dope you have here that burns them out so young? But then I realized, you know what, I'm getting old. And I also see there's a lot of old people, there's a lot of people from my generation here. You people were born in, I'm at the front end of the baby boom. I see some people who's a little bit older than me. I just turned 65. I have my goddamn Medicare card, and there's a bunch of you motherfuckers in here. And whoever thought we'd live so long? Thank God they didn't tell me, that I was going to live this long enough for the parts to wear out, and we are off the warranty, ladies and gentlemen. I have hearing aids, which when I was in treatment, in 1983, they told me, you better get hearing aids, Roberta, because now you have to hear what people are saying, because there's shit you don't know. And so I have 2 hearing aids, I have an artificial knee, I've had so many surgeries in recovery, and menopause, what can I tell you? And I'm grateful to be here also because It's like a different kind of audience than we have in LA. I don't see any Mexicans. We have a lot of wonderful Mexican Americans, and we have like a whole shitload of old Mexican men from East LA, from San Quentin. I always call them the prostate patrol. It's hilarious. I can't even tell you. If we have a lot of areas in the Southern California area, just come visit us sometime. It's fucking wonderful. Okay. Oh yeah. What up with this? I don't get this. What is this? I don't get it. Okay, that's the end. Nobody has told me all weekend. I guess let me tell you a little bit about myself. That's what people say, and then they talk for half an hour about themselves. Just so you know, as I said, I was born in Brooklyn. I was just explaining earlier this week to somebody that was talking about my childhood to somebody, you know, a friend of a friend, and I was saying how throughout my whole childhood, you know, I grew up in a crazy house. Who wants to raise your hand? I'll put it this: raise your hand if you didn't grow up in a crazy home. You need to do another fucking inventory. You in denial, honey. Okay, but not really. So that, you know, we grew up in a crazy house, you know, up until, you know, when my father died when I was 9. Up until then, I don't remember there being any talking at all. And, you know, I have a lot of memories from 2, 3, 4 years old. I really do. And I don't remember there being any talking. I have asked my older sister. She said, no, wasn't much. And then after my father died, because he died of a sort of form of this disease, where he did something he shouldn't have done because he thought everybody was watching. I don't know what the fuck. And he was 42 years old. He dropped dead. And my mother turned into a lunatic. And from then on, it was all screaming. And to make herself feel better, she took me into her bed. You know, it was crazy. You know, it was just insanity. I grew up with 2 sisters, you know, and it's like it was like every man for yourself. I was like there was nobody else there. So what I was explaining to this person was I always felt like I was like a pinpoint inside of a body. I had no connection to who I was. I had no feeling of being like a self. So I say it that way. You hear it from the podium all the time. Addicts, one after another, will stand up and say, I felt like there was something wrong with me. I felt like there was a part missing. Oh, I had a boyfriend once who said, I felt like I was a machine with a part missing. I felt like, what people say, I felt like it was a manual for life and I didn't get it. I felt like everybody else knew how to do it and I didn't. I felt like there was, you know, like I was a Martian. I felt like it was some blah, 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 blah. You know, when we moved to Queens, we moved into a project. I don't know if you have projects. You have projects here? Yeah. Great, ain't it? We moved to the project in Queens, and it was the promised land at the time. And you know, I like to share how, because I had quite a lot of recovery before I realized the following, which was when I was a little girl, like 6, 7, 8, there was an ad on television that the old people in here may remember, which had a man saying, "Can't sleep at night? You may have aches and pains you're not even aware of. Take Bayer aspirin." And at the age of 7, 8 years old, I used to sneak out of bed in the middle of the night to take aspirin because I couldn't sleep. I don't know why I couldn't sleep, but the thing there that you want to get a hold of is that I was taking something to fix my fucking ass, my little ass, and also that I was sneaking to do it. I wasn't telling somebody, I don't feel that I can't sleep, because I didn't know you could talk and tell people things that I was concerned about. And, you know, I would sneak out of bed and get candy, I would sneak out of bed and get aspirin. You know, fast forward to 12 years old, and I got black beauties. black beauties. There you go. Woo! Okay. Do they make black beauties anymore? No. All right. When I took the black beauty, I was 12 years old, and I took my first black beauty. It made me feel bad. So the next time I took the black beauty, I took more, and it made me feel worse. And I took more and more and more until I felt really terrible, and now I felt different enough that I felt good. So I didn't feel the same way I felt before. Now I felt like shit, but a different kind of shit, so that was good. And everybody, only this audience would laugh at that and nod your head and think that that's a good description. Only this audience would even understand that the disease of addiction makes you stupid. That feeling bad is good because you're doing it to yourself. Feeling something different, feeling an I don't know. Don't give an addict an I don't know. Don't give an addict an I don't know what's going to happen. No. We got to do what we know, which is to do this, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to feel real fucking bad, I'm going to do it, I got to do that, and then we call it a fix. How fucking stupid is that? Okay, and it doesn't matter how smart you are. I am very smart. I have to say that since I stopped using, I got stupider because, not stupid, I lost, up until the time from my childhood, up and through all of my 23 years of using an extreme drug abuse, and to the point where, like, many or most people could say, the drugs didn't work anymore, right? I had a photographic memory. When I stopped using, I lost it. What's that about? I don't know, but nobody's ever been able to tell me, and I'm not going to ask one of those fucking doctors either. Okay. So, now, black beauties, and now we're in the 60s, and hallucinogens, and blah, 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 and blah, 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 la cocaína. Blah, 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 Quaaludes and this and that, and they're using. And, what am I doing? Am I fucking up? Yeah. I'm not. And my bladder is 65 years old, too. That's so I may have to leave. No. So, my drug addiction, I pushed everybody out of my life. I had, 500 relationships, a marriage. It was the 60s. I was the kind of addict who, when I got divorced from that guy for like a stupid reason after 2 years, I said, I'll have to get laid 5 times a week, then I'll know I'm okay. It's like, that's how I thought, and I did. And I'm in New York, and I'm working in New York, and somehow I always work. Well, I didn't work, but I had a job. And I was always loaded. In the 60s, I was, I was stupid. It made me so stupid. I would sit in that fucking office and smoke a bowl of opiated hashish. At the end of the day, nobody's going to know. And so in order that I could walk to the subway to go home, because I couldn't not be loaded. That's all I'm trying to communicate to you. I couldn't not be loaded. I had to be loaded. I couldn't not be fucking loaded. It's the only time I felt like I could, I guess, stand myself, and I didn't know what that, I can't even, there are no words. I was so unself-aware. I had to be loaded. Years later, when I moved to Los Angeles, and I moved to Los Angeles a year and a half before I was made to get clean. People were so annoying. And I got myself transferred to Los Angeles, and I worked for a company that would, like, at that time, they would send you out first to go find a place to live. Well, I went out first and found a dope dealer. Then I went home, and then I moved out, and now in Los Angeles, Los Angeles, it's like, there's nobody there. You're in steel all the time. There's no fucking people. So I can't explain how I set up my dealers. Nobody knew how much I was using. I had like 3 or 4, one in Silver Lake, one in West Hollywood, one in Pacoima, all the way up there, one over here. Nobody knew how much I was using. I'm taking deliveries of cocaine at the office. It's ridiculous, and getting more and more sick, and it's not working anymore, and so. When the drugs weren't working, meaning what? What did that mean? It meant for me that I was getting fucked up, but I wasn't getting altered. Somebody's nodding, exactly. I was getting fucked. I was taking so many chemicals that I was fucked up. Like I would walk into the walls. I was always black and blue. I couldn't sleep. Whatever. But I couldn't I felt like shit. And I remember laying on the floor, and I remember there being puke involved, because at this point, I was so desperate to get altered, to do something to myself. I had to do something to myself, that I resorted to something I had been doing in the 70s, which was vomiting. So now I'm eating and vomiting and taking, cocaine, handfuls of Valium. Can't remember what else we had. What was it? Just booze. And I'm not drinking. Tequila. I remember tequila being in there. And getting so physically messed up and not altered, and thinking. And I remember laying on the floor and thinking, "That's it. I have to die now. I'm just going to have to kill myself," which I've been thinking about since I'm 9, because I always thought that I didn't deserve to. I wasn't supposed to live. It was an accident. So if I fucked up, I'll just kill myself. I used it for anxiety management. I never felt I was fearless. I was always fearless. Why? Because if it came up and said, "I'll go kill myself if something bad happened," and so I felt like I had to kill myself, and that was when. I was an intervention by the employer that I've been ripping off for many, many years. I don't understand how this works. They came and I stayed out. I would skip work like 2-3 weeks at a time. I would call in sick. Sick man. I was chasing the dope man around, and I would call in sick. And then the next day, I figured, I don't have to call them again, because they'll know I'm still sick if I don't show up. And it would go on like 2 weeks like that. How fucking codependent was this organization? They let this shit go on. It's unbelievable. It's breathtaking. This would go on, then it'd go back, and blah, 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 blah. Well, finally, the people in Los Angeles called somebody, I think in AA in New York, and one of the bosses in New York, and he told them, "What are you, fucking crazy?" I don't know exactly what happened, but they called me. I didn't answer the phone. They called my friend Jeremy, the one who said, "For me, it's fun. For you, it's medicine." That guy, they called him, and he banged on my door, and I said, "Go away!" So finally, they typed up a letter and stuck it under my door. And the letter said, on corporate stationery, it said, "Dear Roberta, we see what you're doing. You are dying. You will die without a job. So, if you don't want to die without a job, come into the office tomorrow." Now this was putting a monkey wrench into my plan, which was being fucking grandiose while having no self-worth. Clap if you have grandiosity and no self-worth. Okay. Wanted to go out like a Roman candle sputtering on the horizon, that's it, I have to die, I can't live anymore, So I said, well, that's no good. I'm not going to do that, because I'm going to die without a job. It's poverty. I don't know what the hell. So I went to work, and they said, this is not good, this is not, and somebody who knew there was somebody there who I knew from New York. She had been transferred there 6 months earlier, probably to save my life. And now, on my recovery birthday, every year for 28 years, she sends me a card saying that the greatest thing she ever did in her life was to save my life. So I go in there, and the boss says, not her, the boss says, you have to go somewhere. I said, fine, send me to, I said, the Pritikin Longevity Center. I'm going to learn how to eat fat-free and no salt. And they said, what are you talking about? I said, well, my diet's fucked up. They said, what are you talking about? They said, no, you don't understand. You have to go somewhere. And I said, okay, so send me to La Costa, which is a spa in San Diego, where I'll give up smoking, because I did, for many, many years, smoke 4 packs of Cools a day, in case you didn't know I was an addict. 4 packs of Cools, the real Cools, not the shit that they have now. So the girl who I knew from New York, who knew I had a problem, because when we used to, in New York, she lived on West 73rd Street near Broadway, and we would get like coked up to the hairline and go to the bar and play Pac-Man like this. And then breathe, then inhale, and then do it again, you know. And so, and that's where she was from North Carolina, and I'm Jewish, so I never drink. Jews don't drink. That's maybe why we don't get wet. But so she was trying. I remember then that was like a couple, 18 months before, 2 years before, she was trying to teach me how to drink Amstel Light. While like this, and I couldn't. Now, like a year later, she moved to Los Angeles, and I bring to her house, as a housewarming president, a gallon of Bombay gin, so I'll have something to drink when she's there. You know what I'm saying? So she knew I got downhill a little bit. And so she said, you don't understand. We're not talking about a spa, and we're not talking about a diet. Get your ass in. She took me and she said, you need to go to drug abuse treatment. I was like, what? She said, and you're going, what do you mean? Where am I going to go? I said, we don't know. We don't know where you go. You find out. So I went into, they had like a database, they had like a database where you could look, now it would be Google, but then it was Nexus, and I looked up Steve Howe. Anybody know Steve Howe? One Dodger fan. He was a Dodger who was sent away to treatment by the Dodgers. And you know what? That motherfucker died. He used and relapsed maybe 20 times. He died about 5 years ago in a spectacular car crash. He never stayed clean. So I looked and saw where the Dodgers sent him, and that's where they sent me. Well, they said, call them up and tell them you're coming. So I called them up, and I said, they want me to go there. I didn't even know what the hell this place was. They want me to come here. It was like a Monday. They said, okay, so you're going to come here tomorrow. I said, no, I'm going to be there Friday because I have to take care of stuff, And she said, well, tell me about you using. What are you using? And I actually told her the truth of what and how much I was using, which is the first time it had ever come out of my mouth, even for me to hear. And I told her, and I said, okay, so I'll see you Friday. And she said, no, you're coming tomorrow. You'll be dead by Friday. That got my attention. But so I figured I'll go, and I'll kill myself when I come home. On my schedule, not on theirs. That was my plan. Because I didn't know what this was about. I didn't know what any fucking thing was about except what I had been doing. And you know what? They sent me to treatment in Arizona where Steve Howe went. And I get to the... I was on like a fifth... I don't know, like a... I don't even know, like a 5-day run, so I'm nuts. And I get to I went to Phoenix, and the man came to pick me. So now I'm like nuts, and the man who came to pick me up had one arm. And it's an evening, he puts me in the car, and we start driving. And we're driving, and we're driving, and we're driving, and we're driving, and it's dark out there. There's no lights, we're driving, and we're driving, and we're driving, and finally I said to him, what's out there? And he said, nothing. Motherfucker. And I was so crazy that because of that, I stayed there. Because I thought I didn't know how to go anywhere. If I was going to run away, I wouldn't know where to go, because I thought there was nothing between Phoenix and this place, which was 65 miles away. Even though I went in the van to meetings in Phoenix while I was there, I was so crazy, I thought there was nothing. Even though I went in the van and saw that there was something, I thought there was fucking nothing. That's how nuts I was. That's how the disease makes you stupid. It's not just the dope. It's the disease of addiction. And I want to tell you something. I am so grateful that I went there 28 years ago and not now. You know why? Because now, a few years ago, we took a car ride from LA to where my husband comes from in Lubbock, Texas. Okay, you know. On the way back, I said, let's stop off there. And we did. We drove by the treatment center, and it's all, you know, it's more like a suburb of Phoenix. That's what it felt like to me. And I went in, the director was still there, and I talked to him. I said, you know, when I was here, there was no caffeine, there was no nothing. If you weren't having seizures, you didn't get fucking nothing. And that's the way it was then. And that's what they said. When I came in the intake interview at 11 o'clock at night, they said, and when you leave here, no antihistamines, no this, no that, no this, no NyQuil, no this quill, no that quill, no that quill. You know, it was like, and I said, there was decaffeinated coffee. When I was there, I said, what do you do now? He said, oh no, we got to give everybody psych meds. I said, why? You know better. He said, because if we don't give them a psychiatric diagnosis of depression or anxiety disorder or something like this, the insurance doesn't pay. We'll have to close. Oh, that's very nice. I'm so fucking grateful I got clean a long time ago, because what did I get? I got the knowledge that I don't have to take something to fucking fix my feelings. I can live through them and watch them change. Or as my sponsor said, when you've been using for 23 years and altered for every single little thing that happened, you got to take something and fix it, and then when that's too much, you got to, you say, and then you go like, I'm depressed. You say, of course you're supposed to be depressed. Not supposed to be breezy about coming off of that kind of chemicals, and you have to let yourself detox, which emphasis on the D and the tox. So I went there, and I just want to say part of the intake interview was they said, now we have, it was August, it was 106 degrees outside the next day, and it was, part of the intake interview was that they talked about that there were scorpions, rattlesnakes, and tarantulas there. So I was in like fucking surreal, I can't even tell you, it was like being on Mars. The whole thing was bizarre. Plus, I wasn't getting loaded. And I was eating, and I said, God, I'm so hungry. They said, well, when was the last time you ate? Last Thursday. You know. Okay. I wanted to tell you the gift of my first year of recovery was not just that I learned that I didn't have to take anything to make myself feel better, that I could let it change and go through it, because otherwise, you know, when you stop taking the thing, the feelings don't change. If you don't take anything, the feelings can change, and you can work some depths on them instead of any you know. The other thing, one of the gifts of that first year of recovery was I gained 60 pounds. It was terrible. Okay. So, the first 30 I probably needed, but the second 30 was just a nightmare. Okay, so, all right, so here I am, I'm there, and it's like, I'm in like, what the fuck is this about? Because here I am, and you've heard people saying it was a perfect description of me. Drugs weren't my problem, they were my solution for living. That was the way I was able to live, and now it wasn't working anymore. How the hell, what does that mean? I can't exist anymore. And what they were saying was, you gotta stop using. What? You gotta stop using. Because if you don't stop using, Roberta, you don't have a prayer. That part I understood. But then they said, But if you do stop using, you do have a prayer. And that was a news bulletin. And I'm looking at all these people who work there, and they were recovering addicts. And it was like, what the fuck is going on? It was like I was on another planet. And on the bulletin board of that treatment center was the little white book. They took us out to an AA meeting in the little town that was near there, and they might as well have taken me to a Mickey Mouse cartoon. It had nothing to do with anything. And it wasn't the substance that was different. It was this. I then saw the little white book on the bulletin board, and I took it down. And in that book it said, when we use drugs in any form or substitute one for another, in any form, we release our addiction all over again. Wow. And it said, not I'm powerless over this, I'm powerless over that, I'm powerless over this, I'm powerless over that. I'm not powerless over drugs. I know exactly what to do with it. I am not powerless over drugs. It's me. I'm the problem. I somehow knew if I stopped using, it would first be the beginning of the fucking problem. Because I was the problem. You know, it's not enough to stop using. And when I saw the steps on the wall, I said, I didn't understand a word of it, but it was the message I was getting was, we can do something about this. See, I got there, and then the first Sunday night, they took me to, and a bunch of us, to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting in Phoenix, Arizona, at St. Luke's or St. Joseph's or something hospital. It was a big meeting. And I got up, and they made us go up, and we all went for the coffee because there was caffeine. Jesus. And we went up for chips, and I went up and I said, my name is Roberta, I'm an addict, and I'll tell you what the big fucking deal is all about. That's how I was coping with my I don't know, And I remember that there was a lady named Denise who took a 2-year cake, and there was something about that. It was like, it got my attention. And for some reason, they took me and others only to Narcotics Anonymous after that Sunday. I went there every Sunday that I was there. I was there for 2 months. And it was amazing. I got a little thing that we call identification. It's that little seed, that little tiny seed that, oh my God, I am not a one-of-a-kind mutant geek. There's a whole room full of you motherfuckers. And every room I go to, it's the same. I have that identification. I don't know you, but you know the most important thing about me. I'm telling you some other details, but the most important thing about me, the most important thing about you is that I am an addict, and I am an addict in recovery. You know what I know what to do to myself. You know how I know how to treat people like dog shit. You know that I know how to steal. You know that I know how to manipulate and lie. You know that I know how to hurt myself in ways that haven't even been invented yet. You know that I know how to do the same to your fucking ass. And the other stuff is interesting. That's where we identify at the level of a disease and also at the level of the recovery. That little tiny seed of identification was like the little crack of an opening where the open-mindedness started to open. One of the things for me was, when it talked about a power greater than your, in the second step, came to believe in a power greater than myself. What the fuck? I was not raised with any kind of a God. I have a sister who, she didn't become an addict, and she was a lunatic. And then she found God. It was like a cataclysmic thing. She found God. She's been going to church now for 40 years. She's really a practicing, religionist. She stopped beating up her kids. She already had damaged them, but she stopped beating up her kids. She became this incredible person. She ministers in hospitals. She's an extraordinary human being. And I would look at her and think that I'm not capable of that. Whatever the peace that she got from it, or the good feeling, or the feeling of being loved, or I didn't even understand what it was. I knew that it was something good for her, and I knew that I didn't have that, some people know how to draw. And I didn't have that talent or that gift or that special something to have faith in a God. And here I am, and your people are telling me we have to come to believe. And I want to tell you that it didn't start there. I just heard that. And it happened when I got home and I started to go to Narcotics Anonymous meetings in the West Side area of Los Angeles and Venice and Santa Monica. And heard my sponsor speak and asked her to sponsor me. Sydney, I don't know if you've heard her. Yeah. Who passed away, with 30 years clean at the age of 80, 6 years ago. And who gave us so much, who was instrumental in the Blue Book, blah, 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 blah. When I came home and started to go to big meetings, and I would say, I have to get a power greater than myself. I don't have to know it, because my best thinking got me here. I loved that when I heard that. My very fucking best genius IQ thinking, all the shit that I know how to do, all the crap that I know how to work, got my fucking ass here and wanted to kill myself. So I need to learn stuff that I don't know. And one of the things is you are telling me that I have to have a power greater than myself, a power greater other than myself. And so I called it the Spirit of Narcotics Anonymous. I figured the thing that was making, 1,000 dope fiends all point in the same direction and listen to somebody, that's got to be God, because I know you motherfuckers aren't going to do that on your own. And it started for me there. What I want to talk about is that what I like to talk about is the disease of addiction. My sponsor told me when she said she would sponsor me, when I finally asked her 3 weeks later, and I asked her because I heard her speak. I was released to the custody of a Narcotics Anonymous, a Southern California Regional Convention of Narcotics Anonymous in Buena Park, California, which is where Knott's Berry Farm is. I was spared from seeing addicts going around Knott's Berry Farm, but and I went there and I sat with the people from Arizona. Because I'll just say that when the meeting I went to in Phoenix before I left, they were throwing me out of treatment. I didn't want to go home because I figured I can learn some more. And when I go home, I'm going to get loaded. Excuse me, I'm going to get loaded because that's what I know how to do. I don't know how to do this thing. You're all over here and we're in the middle of the cactuses. I could do it and you're all, there's nothing here to use. I'm going to go out there. I know where to go. I know how to do it. So I went to the last meeting in Phoenix and I said, my name is Roberta, I'm an addict, and now I know what the big fucking deal is about. I said, but I am leaving on Wednesday, and it's a fucking disaster. I'm going back to LA. I know I'm going to get loaded. And a voice came from the back, Jeff B. from Phoenix with a Brooklyn accent, God bless him. He said, you're going to New York, you're going to LA on Wednesday? On Thursday, you go to Buena Park, California. There's going to be the Southern California Regional Convention. We're going to be there. 1,200 addicts going to straighten your bones right out. And I went there. I drove in the car to Buena Park. I was terrified. It was the first time in my life I had driven clean. This is how stupid we are. I'm like, I saw, there's other cars here, yeah. I drove without any dope in the car. I was terrified. And I got there, and how God works in my life, I walked I was terrified, but I didn't know it because I couldn't feel fear, but I know that I was terrified. I walked into There was like a hotel or something. I walked in, and there was somebody from that meeting. And he went like, oh my God, we thought you'd be dead. And he stood with me at the door, and as women walked by, he said, give her your number, give her your number, give her your number. And I heard, and the Sunday morning speaker was Sydney. And she shared about that it was the first time she was sharing in a big event. She had 8 years clean then. And she shared about how the year before, that she had never shared about this at a big event, the year before, that her daughter, who was 28 years old, and got sick, terribly sick one night, and she took her to the emergency room, and they didn't know what the hell was wrong with her, and they released her and took her home, and she died in her arms the next day. And she talked about it, she cried, and I didn't understand a word of what anybody was saying at this meeting, at this convention, but I understood that I had heard that having a child die is the worst thing that could happen, that anguish, that loss, that all things that I didn't know what those things were, but I had heard that it was a terrible thing. And she didn't get loaded. And I thought to myself, she knows how to stay clean. If you're new, you could stay clean the way I stayed clean the first year. I was obsessed with using for a whole year. And I just didn't use now. I knew I was going to get loaded tomorrow. I knew, and just like when I would come back when I would go back to Phoenix and I saw all the stuff, but when I was back in the place, I didn't think there was anything there. That's how stupid I was. I thought, I'm just not going to use now. I would think about that's it. I would say, that's it. I'm getting loaded. I can't do this shit. There's the meetings, the eating, the working without getting, the being tired. I can't handle it. I'm not sleeping. I didn't sleep for a long time. That's it. I'm getting loaded. And I say, okay, I'm just not going to use. I will get loaded, but just not right now. I'll get loaded tomorrow. And I didn't notice how tomorrow became right now. It didn't occur to me that tomorrow was going to become now, so then there was another tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Can you follow? This is physics here. But, yeah, that's how I stay clean. I didn't stay clean one day at a time. Oh, please. Maybe in Alcoholics Anonymous, they have a whole day. I'm an addict. I have a now. If it's going to be like now and that's it. And speaking of Alcoholics Anonymous, I call it the mothership. My husband is actually a member of AA, which thank God, so I could talk about him all I want. When he comes to our meetings, like if I have him come to give me a cake, he sits there like this. But believe me, he was, I'll put it to you that when he relapsed with 8 years, he would have like about 30 years now, but he has 22 or so. He relapsed with like 8 years on rock, on freebase. So. But I don't know, he heard the message there, I don't know, I'm just glad he's over there. But, when he comes to our meetings, he notices that, I can see him, he's like this, because we wiggle a lot, you know what I mean? And we wiggle, we get up a lot, we talk, When I go to one of his meetings, because I'm going to give him a cake or something, and they're very lovely. They're very lovely. They took a lot of it, serenity. So I think that the prayer should be rewritten. See, I don't think that God gives us serenity and then we have the courage to accept the things we can't change and change the things, God gives us serenity to accept the things I can't change. And then we have the acceptance of the things we can't change and the courage to change the things we can't, that we get. I don't think it works like that. I think we have to move ourselves over to humility, and then we can accept the things we can not change, the courage, then we get the courage to change the things we can, and that produces serenity. When we start accepting the things we can't change and stop trying to motherfucking torture everything into the shape that we demand so that we can be comfortable, try to squeeze reality into the shape of the bullshit that's in my head. And if I stop doing that, then I will maybe have serenity. Okay, so what I really wanted to say is that it's all about the steps. And I'm not talking about how am I doing. You got to be kidding. It's all about the steps. And I'm not talking about the first time you did the steps. The first time you did the steps is like learning how to dance. It's the first time you danced. That ain't it. I'm not talking about, there's some stuff that you never told to anybody and then you tell them to somebody. It's a wonderful thing. But the shit that was embedded when that stuff happened, the stuff when I was a child, the reactions, the feelings that got buried and then under the concrete of the dope and the character defects and the fuck you motherfucker and whatever it is, or the extraordinary codependency that demands that you change in order for me to feel okay, in other words, it becomes your fucking fault, motherfucker. What happened to you a long time ago. It doesn't go away. It's, we like to say, oh, I'm not wrapped too tight. I'm not wrapped too tight. That's bullshit. Addicts are wrapped overly tight. There's an old hurt inside, that old shame, that old pain, that old terror, fear that's in pattern and like locked in from before you have words or when you're little, and the disease is wrapped around it and pull, and wrapped around some more and pull, and wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap. And you know what the wrapping is made out of? Character fucking defects. And and we're wrapped utterly tight. And the only thing that unwraps it is the steps of Narcotics Anonymous. And it's not, yay! And it's not like an onion. It's not an onion. That's bullshit. Oh, it's like we're peeling an onion. We're not peeling the fucking onion, because I don't know if you cook. But if you cook, when you take the outside of the onion off, what's inside next? Onion. Then you take off the next layer, onion. Next layer, onion. It's always onion all the way to the bottom. That isn't what we have. We have character defect. We have dope, that we take the dope off. Now we got character defects. Character defects is the dope of today. That fucking resentment, I got the resentment that, so that I don't have to look at what I'm doing, and I can point, I like to say, the disease of addiction is a shit-seeking missile. We have a couple of Vietnam-era veterans who might relate to that. It's a shit-seeking missile that we send when the disease is active. I send it out to look for either a fix, something to, it's like, I gotta get that, whether it's a person, or a free cell on this. I had to go cold turkey on a free cell. It's like the Pac-Man, clean. What the fuck? It's internet porn, it's food, it's vomiting, it's fixing other people disguised as altruism. It's bullshit. Codependency is bullshit. I need you to change, and I tell you it's for your own good. It isn't. It's to make my fucking ass comfortable. It's bullshit. It's disguised that it's altruism. It's not. The shit-seeking missile goes, I don't feel good, and I don't know why, because I'm an addict sometimes, and I'm not looking at myself, and somebody looked at me cross-eyed, and that old feeling got triggered, that shame, there's something wrong with me, and I don't always, sometimes I do say, it's just an old tape. Sometimes I don't, because sometimes I go into attack mode, and the shit-seeking missile goes out to find out why I feel so bad. It's you, motherfucker, and you didn't clean the thing. The cleaning lady didn't clean in the corner of underneath the thing in the thing. Or it's some kind of fix, and I gotta have that to fix myself. Fix my ass. Fix my ass, all right, so I brought some of my writing. This is the last time you're going to see this in Narcotics Anonymous. I'm talking about using the steps. When your disease is active, it will happen. I have 28 years. I am so smart about the disease of addiction. I am smart about recovery. I've done these steps so many times, and still, this is what it means that we have a disease. We don't have a little fucking disorder. A thing that heals up and then it goes away and we come to the meeting to give it away. It's bullshit. We do have to give it away. It gets us out of ourselves, but it comes up again. We got like the thing, a little twist in here, a little twist. And if I'm not in good spiritual shape, and it gets triggered, I'm in a fucking jackpot, and I don't know it, because obsession, compulsion, denial tells you it's not happening, and I leave a path of destruction, and I'm going to look for some reason somebody else to blame it on, or some other thing. So I'm talking about using these fucking steps. I'm not talking about like whacking. I'm talking about applying them to something that's bothering you now. I'm going to read you and what I do is I do it on the computer. 200 years ago, you had to write it out. If that's the way that's communicating for you, keep writing it out. If you're like me and you're one of these and this is attached directly to your brain, do it on the computer. If your sponsor needs to write it out, let your sponsor write it out. I sit on the computer like this and I go like this. It's attached to it. If I had to write it out, it would be so slow. It's not going to happen. It doesn't mean anything if I write it out. Okay, so here. I use the steps. I work through the first 3 steps. So here, I had a fight with the printer back there because I realized I could do this. I had to write something from my godson. I had to proofread and rewrite something. It was an application for law school. That's what it was. I said, I'll fix it up for you. I'm a writer. I'm gonna do that. I'm a writer. I'm a fucking writer. I'm a writer. I'm gonna do it. I'm a writer. I don't know what the fuck happened. I didn't do it. And now I'm not doing it for one reason or another, and it's turning into I can't do it. It turns into, oh my God, I can't do it. Oh my God, I can't do it. I'm a fuck up. I'm going to fuck him up. I'm a fuck I'm a fuck up. I'm a kid. I have to kill myself. I have to get loaded up. And I don't even realize this is happening because I'm an addict. And all of a sudden, one day, I say, stop it! Well, you got a problem, we have a solution. You're doing this to yourself. You are the problem. You're doing this to yourself. And I write my way through the first 3 steps. I'm not talking about like it's an incantation. I'm powerless over my disease, my life is... No, I'm talking about pulling it out, pulling it apart. I write my way to the 3rd step. And I'm writing fast. And I'll read you what I wrote. This was called, I Can't Write Zachary's Statement for Grad School. This is my disease, pure and simple. It's freezing my hands. It's paralyzing me with fear. I was writing what I was feeling. I had to get it out. I had to write it down. I feel the fear. I didn't know I was afraid. I'm fearless. I'm an addict. Fuck you, motherfucker. Fear is gripping. I go like this, like I know how to do karate. I don't know how to do fucking karate. All I have is a big mouth. That's it. The fear is, but it comes from Brooklyn, so people get scared. Okay. I feel the fear gripping my chest like a cold hand. I want to run. I'm afraid. This is my disease, and this is what's making my life unmanageable. It's not only making my life unmanageable, it's making me miserable. I admit it. This is my disease talking to me. Misery, for me, is dope. You know what I mean? This is what, to feel miserable and fucked. Like to be fucked and a victim, and it's somebody else's, and there's something wrong with me, and I'm fucked and I'm miserable. I love, I wouldn't say I love it. I just say it's it's like a warm bath of shit that the addicts we return to it like it's good. That's how stupid we are. That's how fucking stupid we return to misery, self-loathing. We relax into it like shit because like it's something good. How stupid. Okay. All right. So I admit this is my disease. It's making my life unmanageable. Can I believe that there's a power greater than myself to restore me to sanity? What I do is I write a list, not a novel, of what my insane thinking is. I'm pulling it out so it's not like a gas filling my head. When the disease is on, like the Pac-Man, the food, the fuck you motherfucker, the needing you to change, it fills our head. And there's nothing else in there. That's called obsession. It's bullshit. But if you sit and you write down what you're thinking, it becomes just a thought, a thing. Something that you can... It becomes a finite thing you can let go of. When it's filled your head like gas, it's like the Fukushima nuclear reactor. You can't let it go. It's like an explosion. I write down, it's insane to think I can't do this writing. Plus, he gave me such a good thing to do. It's insane to think I can't do this. It's insane to think I've never done this before. It's insane to think that I have to distract myself or go run and do something else, because I would go like, I'm going to go do this. No, I'm going to go do this first. No, I'm going to go do that. It's insane to think I will fail. It's insane to think I have to put this off. It's insane to think I have to wash the table or do the crossword puzzle or eat some more. It's insane to think that I can't do it. It's totally insane. But then I write myself into believing there's a power greater than myself who can restore me to sanity. So I don't have to stay in this. If there's a power greater than me who can, I don't have to stay insane, even though it feels like I do. Like it's just like it feels like I had to use every day. That wasn't the dope, that was the fucking disease. I have to live like this. I have to die on the county jail floor. How many people said that? I have to do this. I have to live this way. I don't. Can I come to believe there's a power greater than myself who can restore me to sanity? So I don't care if I think of it for myself or for you. In this case I wrote, there is a God, the God who gave somebody named Stacy, somebody from a meeting, a life, as she said this morning when she took her 15-year cake. There is a God who showed Johnny how to not live like an animal in prison, but on the street helping people. There is a God who showed him it was insane to sell drugs to pregnant women. I just heard that at a meeting. There is a power who took me from being a self-centered little whore and made me a wife who wants to be with my husband, who wants to help him and love him, wants him even when I get angry, or if he does, wants to stay. You know, there is a God who put Sydney in my life, and still I'm afraid. That's okay. You're allowed to be afraid, because there's a power greater than myself and my fear. So I'm going to make a decision. That means conscious. Disease isn't conscious. All of a sudden, now I'm moving myself. The plasma, you know, the gas is settling. I've labeled the things in there insane, and now I'm going to let them go. All the steps are about awareness and releasing and letting go. First step, second step. And third step is let go. Fourth step, awareness. Fifth step, let go. Sixth step, awareness of character defect. Seventh step, moving to humility, let it go. You have to let the motherfuckers go. God doesn't remove shit. He didn't take the spike out of your fucking arm. You had to put the motherfucker down, and then the obsession got removed. Same with the dope of this character defects. You got to put him down for a minute and then tell God, I'm going to let you take him away. You got to put it, you can't be practicing. You can't be fucking practicing it and say, I guess he didn't take him away. It's ridiculous. I make a conscious decision to put all this fear in his hands. I put the fear into the hands of a loving God. I turn the fear over. I let it lift off of me. I was feeling this as I was writing. Instead of freezing my heart and turning me into concrete, like rigid and concrete, I make a decision to turn my will over to his care. What is my will? My will is to do nothing. My will is to go to sleep or eat or run away or go do anything else. My will is to stay in the fear and in self-loathing, the dope of self-loathing. My life is, my fear of stepping out, my fear of, I'm going to do something and put it out there. I have come to believe many times that God lets me do something, gives me the strength to step out without knowing the result, to do what I have to do. I make a decision to turn my will and my life and the matter of Zachary's paper for law school over to the care of a loving God who has done so much for me and continues to do so. I turn this over. I put it in a package. I put like a string on it with a balloon, and I go, take this, my fear, take this. I put this in your hands. And I say the following: take my will and my life, guide me in my recovery, show me what I have to do next. Not show me how to live. It's too big. It's like the day. Show me what I have to do next. And the answer becomes very clear. Sit down at the fucking computer and write the goddamn thing. Oh, okay. No problem. Did he get into law school? No. Okay, so, it's awareness and really, the step is like a cognitive and spiritual solution to this terrible disease we have, where it's like gas in our head, and we think that that's reality. Addicts create an alternate reality in our head. I like to think you put your head up your ass, and surprise, the world is shit, You're full of shit, this is shit, I'm in a world of shit, it's all fucked up, it's all shit, you know, and your head is in your ass, you know? And we feel satisfied about that. See, I told you I was fucked up. See, I told you it was fucked. We're the only people who think that having a resentment, which means that somebody fucked you over, that's powerful in some ways. This is ridiculous. You know, you fucked me! Like because I'm screaming, that makes me powerful. It's ridiculous. It means that I'm the fuckee. You know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying? I gotta let it go. This is how I can have a loving relationship. All these things I've learned in this program. So I have a wonderful relationship with my husband because we both came, you know, we're two insane people both of us have our nervous system on like a hair trigger. I shared that thing that sometimes he'll come up behind me and put his hand on my shoulder and I'll like go through the roof and he'll say, my baby's nerves are shot, you know? You know, but we have a policy of automatic forgiveness. So we're both like this, we both have tempers, so it's like, you know what, fuck you! Oh yeah, fuck me, well fuck you, and then let it go. You gotta let it go right away. Can't hold on to motherfucker. You can't, you know why? Because I want to stay married. I'd rather feel in love than in resentment. You know, I'll tell him, he'll tell me, you know what, that was bullshit when you told that person that I love. That was bullshit, you fucked me. And I have to say, you know what, I'm sorry. And then not go to, well, you know, fuck me, well, fuck you! You know, no, just let it drain, release, let it go. That's what all of these steps are about. Identification of what's going on in the shitstorm, and then letting it go. In the 5th, 6th, and 7th step, finding what it is, and then actually letting it go. And God does remove it. And you could take it up again, just like the dope. You could relapse today. I can relapse today. I choose not to. Because when I have thoughts of using, I let it go. I don't sit there and marinate in it. That's my paradigm for what I try to do with the character defects. When that shit comes up, the resentment like that, you know, I can't indulge it. I do sometimes, and I get into a fucking jackpot again, and then I have to do this. Now I'm going to do the 6th step. 6th step. Here's a 6-book. I went and I printed it out. How am I doing? What am I going to say? I don't know. You people have some kind of distorted vision of what Sydney talked about the 6th step 200 years ago. This is the way it's been developed by me since then. I decided 2 years ago that it's not enough to just deal with the behaviors, to put down the free cell, to stop the smoking, to stop vomiting and overeating, to stop the internet porn, the using, you know, whatever it is. It's not, the problem is not just the acting out that way. It's the thinking and staying in that kind of thinking, whether you act out or not. Because you're acting out on your own fucking ass if you keep holding on to that kind of thinking. So I realized that I was still having certain habits of thought that was like dope fiend, shame-based, self-loathing thinking, like thinking that people, like I know what people are thinking about me, and what they're thinking about me is what I think about myself, which is that I'm a piece of shit. When I'm in that, like on the airplane coming here. How am I doing? It's too bad. I don't know. I'm going to still talk. If you don't, you can leave if you want. I don't care. Okay. On the plane coming here, I have crossword puzzles. I am a terrific crossword puzzle player. When I was on coke, you don't even know how. I could do a New York Times crossword puzzle in 5 minutes on Monday, and on Friday it was harder on 6-7 minutes. Sunday New York Times crossword 20 minutes. Crossword puzzle. I started doing them again a few years ago. I'm a crossword puzzle user. So I sit down in the plane, take out my crossword puzzles, and I fucking think everybody is looking at me doing the crossword puzzles. It's the stupidest thing ever. Half the people are sleeping. You know, it's like I'm the center of everybody's universe. I'm a piece of shit. I'm a worthless sack of shit, and yet I'm clairvoyant and I know what everybody's thinking. So imagine my shock when I'm doing my crossword puzzle. Filling out the crossword puzzle. Oh, look at her! She's filling out the crossword, and I see that the lady who's sitting next to me, she's got a crossword puzzle. Look at that stupid book. She's still, you know, struggling with it. And then I'm going, I'm throwing out the next one, the next one. This is how this is called what we call in Narcotics Anonymous, mind fucking yourself. Okay? So then I noticed what the book that she's doing it in is a New York Times crossword puzzle book. Oh, fuck! So she's maybe on the same page as me, but then I'm checking. It's ridiculous. It's just, then I notice she doesn't even notice me. Well, it's like, fuck you. What are you, fucking blind? You are at the feet of a master, and you're not going to ask me how I know so much that I can do this 12 times to you. It's like this. This is like the night before I slept 2 hours. I'm mind fucking myself with this shit, and then one day I'm getting here and I'm exhausted. Because this is how the disease makes you stupid. I'm on 12 cylinders. And I could have done that, but I didn't. Okay, so I realized that kind of thing, that I know what everybody thinks about me, and I know that it's bad. I said, I'm going to work these steps on it. So I dragged all of my sponsees along with it, and we were sharing. Of course, all of them don't do it, You're powerless over your sponsees. You can tell them. And I do give direction. Whether they follow it or not, I can't do anything about. But when I got to the 6th step, this is what I do. 3 columns. First column is character defect. Second column is the feelings that the defects are covering. The old feelings, the old tapes that you don't even feel because the defects cover it. Like the dope used to cover it. And then the spiritual principles that would combat that are the opposite of that. In each instance, I write the definition. So I'll read you a few. In the first time we do the 6th step, we do more than 100 character defects. For this one that I was doing, I did, I don't know, say 20. There were 20 here. So I've done this a million times. I'm using this step to get myself out of that pattern of thought by writing it down and unwrapping it so that I could do something about it, which is the 7th step. Here, self-centered, dictionary definition, concerned solely with one's own desires, needs, or interests. So in this matter that I know what everybody's thinking, self-centered, everybody's always amazed by me in a positive or negative way and is thinking about me and actively reacting in their mind to what I'm doing at all times. That's what I think. I write it in one sentence. It's no novels here. We don't do novels. One sentence. Novel is the 4th step. Feelings that are covered. And I address that it's a lie. The shame that there's something wrong with me and I don't deserve to even draw breath. That is a lie. It's an old tape. It's a lie today. It's not true. The pain from my childhood. The guilt. I always felt when I was a kid that I was doing something wrong. That's a lie. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm skipping around here. The spiritual principles are forgiveness of self, giving up the resentment and need for punishment of myself. Self-honesty, spiritual principle, free from fraud or deception about myself. Humility, the biggie that includes all of them. Accepting the reality of who I am right now, not more or less. Accepting myself because God does. Surrender. Accepting reality, giving up the illusion of control, getting out of the way so a loving God can come in and help me. Faith, there is a loving God and I'm not it. Awareness, belief, and trust in God. I'll just read you one more because this man's going to arrest me. Here's a good one. Perfectionism. Perfectionism is a character defect. It never makes anybody perfect. It makes you feel like a piece of shit. And when you lay it off on somebody else, you codependents out there, that everybody else has to act, it only makes you feel like they're not up to your, excuse me, I don't think so. Acting up to your very high standards that apply only to them and not to you. I don't think so. Perfectionism was not accepting or content with anything less than perfection, because perfection is a state with no faults or defects, which is unattainable, so therefore it's permanent. Perfectionism means being permanently unaccepting or content. Being permanently discontent because you can't be perfect, so it means you're always falling short and feeling bad about yourself. Feelings covered. The shame of not being good enough, it's a lie. Anger at myself and justifying the anger with perfectionism. Pain at being me, that's an old feeling, an old tape that's rolling, blah, blah, blah. And what's the opposite? Gratitude, appreciation of my life and who I am today, that God, you know what, God looks at me with all of my fucking character defects and all of my craziness and all of my 28 years with no serenity or very spotty serenity, and God accepts me for the way I am today and loves me and gives me this wonderful program, and all of you people has taught me how to love and to be loved. What the fuck? What the fuck? One time I had a work thing downtown LA, and it was a year and a half. It was terrible. It was terrible. I had to get up at like 5 in the morning and go all the way downtown LA, and it was in a terrible working condition. We had rats in the water coolers. It was terrible. It was like this. It was extreme. It was very long hours. It was extreme stress, performance anxiety for me, because that's how I live. And it was terrible. And every day I would get, at the time I lived in Venice, I would get in the car, drive back to Venice, go to a Jewish deli, what else, and sit down and order 10,000 calories. I didn't care what the fuck it was. Get a newspaper and sit and eat like a lunatic. What was it doing? I was medicating that and putting myself into a coma so that I could sleep and not telling anybody about it. And finally I told Sydney, and I said, Sydney, I'm doing this. Months later, I told Sydney, I'm doing this. Every day I'm coming home from work and I'm sitting and eating like a fucking pig into a coma and going to sleep. But she said, why are you doing that? I said, well, you have to understand, it's so tough down there. This is the only time of the day that I feel good. And you know what she said? What makes you think you're supposed to feel good? What makes you think? And look, and the piece I would add to it is, look what I'm doing. I'm destroying myself. I'm making myself miserable and sick, and I'm calling it feel good. How stupid. How fucking stupid. How fucking stupid. So, I want to thank Kirk for talking about the 11th step this morning. About the 11th step, I just want to say, when Sydney died, I sort of stopped praying and meditating and didn't realize I was doing that. And at some point after that, I went to my home group, which is, you're all invited to, the Sunday morning circle in South Los Angeles, 10:30 in the morning in South Los Angeles, where Virgil, a Vietnam War veteran who has PTSD and doesn't take anything, and we took a 25-year cake. And when he was, and God bless Virgil. And when Virgil was sharing about the 25-year cake, he said, still and every day, every morning I get down on my knees and I ask God for knowledge of His will for me and the power to carry that out. And after the meeting, I said, Virgil, do you actually get on your knees and ask God for the power of your will to me and carry it out? I have a knee replacement. I haven't been able to get on my knees for like 10 years because it hurts so much. You have 2 knee replacements. How the fuck do you do it? And he looked at me with a combination of serenity and also thinking, you stupid idiot. He said to me, I put down a pillow. You changed my life. So, I don't know, I'm just blabbering. It's time. The man's going to kill me. I don't know. All I want to say to you, I love this program. I love you. I love the young people I see here, the boys. I can't tell you. I love you. I want you to stay clean. Stay here. This is not a cult. This is how you know. Everybody in here thinks something fucking different. You know what I'm saying? That's not a cult. Cult is you all think the same. Everybody here thinks something different and is a free agent. Please stay. You don't have to use anymore. You can stay clean in Narcotics Anonymous. You can find the extraordinary love and acceptance and purpose and value in yourself and a power greater than yourself. You can share it. It's a wonderful thing. And don't let anybody tell you that that I spilled more than you use. Everybody who comes in here, I came in at 37, Sydney came in at 50, you could be 17 years old. We're all the same fucking stupid when we got here. It's not about what you did, it's about we start at ground So don't let them tell you anything like that. Okay. Thank you for inviting me to Missouri. And I said fuck a lot, but you accepted it.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Please help us improve our ranking so others can find us by putting a review on Stitcher, iTunes, or your favorite podcast index. NAPOD is ad-free thanks to the folks supporting the show with $1 or more per month. If you enjoy listening, you can join them by going to napod.xyz and looking for the donate link. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.